All right, everybody, good evening for day 2 of TDOC, 12 Days of Community. Make sure you watch last night's programming. We already gave the explanation of our big rebranding for this year. So as always, we kind of start out with a couple of things because I have to assume maybe we have somebody new or maybe you missed last night's programming, and we want to make sure everybody keeps up on the things that we've got in store for you. Now, I was a little busy, a lot of busy with our lovely snowstorm that we had today. So I spent the entire day with the snowblower and a shovel because finally I just got tired of pushing stuff and I knew it wasn't going to make it to the gym. So then I just shoveled a path around the house. So the animals are all taken care of. You guys probably saw my stories last night of my poor dear old Jack and Jill that we brought them into the trailer. So they're snug as a bug. They're my blind sheep, you guys. Well, actually, my one is blind, and I think now his sister's going blind. And they just kind of stand out in the snow because they're not comfortable going into the shed with everybody else. But they're actually really doing well. But we gave them their little own palace, so they're snug as a bug in there today. So you guys all saw me out there at 10:30, 11:30. And then I was even staying up to make sure I had our new recipe for tonight. So we've got lots in store. I want to really try to roll through this because unlike last night, you guys all know my fiber bestie, Kimberly, and I know you guys love having us together. But tonight is exactly also what TDOC is about, meeting brand new people, hearing brand new stories, and somebody that's even brand new to me. And a brand new product as well. And if you guys didn't check that out already, I suggest you start peeking at the website while we're chatting. Now, a couple of things from last night. Keep in mind, we're going to have various specials running throughout the 12 days. So most of the specials are going to end by the 5th, because remember the 6th is our wrap-up party. And remember, now, while the keepsake basket looks kind of empty right now, we're only on day 2. So last night's gift for the keepsake basket from Kimberly is one registration for our last Crafting with Cotswold class. So that's a $30 value. That, of course, means you're going to get the ring, you're going to get 1 ounce of curls, you're going to get the pattern, and then you're going to get 2 hours of Zoom with us and with a bunch of other people learning how to knit with your curls. And then, of course, as a result of tonight's guest, we have another new entry into our keepsake basket. So that's only day 2, and this basket's going to continue to fill. And remember, throughout the 11 days, basically, for every $10 that you shop with us, you get 1 ticket going into the basket. So if you missed last night, pre-registration for Kimberly and I's 5th annual knit along / workshop is now open. So for those of you that jumped on already, thank you so much. And remember, even though there's a $5 increase, that's a bonus because instead of 7 tickets, you now get 8 tickets just for jumping in for the cow. So we appreciate that. We also talked about our Refer a Friend program. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I know in the chat, Erin can be listing the details on that. But basically, guys, we're always looking to grow our community. So remember, if you love this and you love hanging out with us, which I know you do, then tell a friend. And if they jump in, if they drop their name in the chat and say, hey, so-and-so referred me, then each of you get a ticket to go in for the keepsake basket. So just to make it fun. I mean, otherwise, remember, this is free. This is for you. And this is my way of just saying thank you for everything that you do for me throughout the year, that I am here Zooming with you for 12 nights in a row to hopefully be able to bring you new people, new fun, new information, and as always, new drops. So tonight is actually going to be one of them. And I also got another one in the mail, and I thought to maybe bring it and tease you with it, but I'm going to wait and put that on a story. So things are rolling in every single day. Remember, when you shop online, we have our rewards program. So those details will be in the chat as well. And also remember, Kimberly gave us a discount as well as myself. Now, Kimberly's discount, I'm going to have Erin drop that in the chat, mostly because my brain can't remember, but I know it's 15% off her patterns on Ravelry through the 6th. And I think it's 12 days. Actually, that's not too bad remembering that off the cuff. For myself, just a shameless plug, but I'm telling you guys, like today with the snow day, and I actually waited to talk to you before I was going to put it on, but you guys know my lanolin skincare line, and as part of TDOC, we run a couple of 50% off specials at our open house events, also for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so if you missed all of those or you need more, or you still need more gifts, because there's nothing wrong with gifting after Christmas because there's plenty of other holidays. So TDOC 2550 is going to get you 50% off all of our skincare items through the 5th, because we want to get that done so that all your tickets can go in for the drawing. So for me, guys, my salve, you've heard me tell you this before, but especially whenever I have to go out into the snow, I am always going to coat my hands and then coat my face, and it really acts as a nice wind protectant, snow protectant, but even regardless, just being outside all day today, even taking a shower with my lanolin soap, when I'm done, I still feel like a dried prune. So I was waiting to be able to get on and talk to you guys and just rub that salve into my hands. Of course, the body butter went on my legs. So all that good stuff, you guys know it. I know you guys love it, and I thank you for it. That product is always something that really just adds to everything that we do here. And of course, remember, it helps to take care of all of our critters on the farm. So I think for that, those are all like the housekeeping things. Now, recipe of the night. Now, I think I'm going to start turning this over to the guests too. So you guys are lucky. We're only day 2 in. By the time I get to like day 8, I am not the cooker. I am not a baker. I'm going to be like, shoot, I need ideas. I already talked to Mimi, who's one of our guests. She works for me on the farm. I'm like, Mimi, we need a cultural, dish that you can bring. I'm like, people are going to love a recipe from you. She just looked at me. She's like, I don't bake. I'm like, yeah, well, neither do I, girl. So figure it out. But last night was my homemade applesauce. It can't even call it a recipe. So simple, but I know so many people love it. And a big shout out, Eva. I didn't get to share yours, but you showed me the picture. You were already diving in and making your applesauce today. And I know the Eccles family, Stacy and Caitlin, I know they were busy making it already today. Actually, it was even finished. So kudos to you guys for diving in. So for tonight's recipe shared, I actually had to put it as like part of the decoration because it really is that beautiful. Now, I've shared this before, guys. So, I don't know that I did it last year, but these are the sugared cranberries. So this was actually shared to me years ago by another fiber friend who got it from another fiber friend. I know Stephanie earlier mentioned that actually the yarn store that's no longer is where I got this recipe from. So super simple. Erin is going to drop it into the chat so that you guys have it. Amy Besson, I do see your question. I'll run right back to that. But essentially, all it is you just need cranberries out of the bag. You're creating a simple syrup just with water and sugar, a light boil. You're dumping the cranberries into it, and then you are just submerging them. So I usually put a plate over top of the bowl, saran wrap it, throw it in the fridge, take it out the next day. Now, even for me, I didn't finish these until about 1:30 in the morning. Left them in the fridge all day, and then kind of super speed chilled them by putting them outside on the front porch. And once you take them out, you drain the liquid. You can save the liquid because you can use it for cocktails or for any type of a dessert. And then you are coating them with very fine sugar, and that's it. So they're super easy. They're really, really beautiful, and they'll stay for days and days and days. Now, my house is a little warm because we heat with a wood-burning stove, so I will usually keep them in the fridge, but I highly recommend. The tartness goes away, of course, by the sugar. We won't think about how much sugar is in here because otherwise it's cranberries, so it's got to be healthy. Oh, it doesn't make me feel full afterwards, and they just have like the perfect little pop. I think the only cumbersome thing about it is I bought my bag of cranberries a while ago, and so you have to sift through them. So any of the ones that start to get mushy and don't really have that nice hard crunch to it, you've got to throw them out. But I saved them. They're in another bowl because then next up is going to be my cranberry sauce recipe, which is actually called like cranberry sauce extraordinaire, and it's great. So anyway, that is the recipe shared for the evening. So I hope you guys give it a try and send me your pictures tomorrow so we can see. All right. I'm exhausted already. I told them I already just like jacked up on caffeine. So no shame in my game. That's what this is all about. So, guys, without further ado, because I do feel like I'm on a timeline here, which is totally fine. I'm sure there's something that I've missed, but what I want to dive into is how we have come upon our guests for this evening. Now, mind you, I don't know them from Adam. Like, literally, this is the first time I'm seeing them, other than the fact that I see all of their Instagram ads constantly now. So I feel like I know them. If you guys were with us last night, when Kimberly was talking about, that 3 a.m, perimenopause, can't sleep, I don't really know that I can blame that on it. Mine is more a husband that snores and then like sometimes keeps me up when my brain is going too much. So the best doom scrolling I have ever done, and I don't know how these ladies don't think I'm a lunatic. I mean, they might, but I literally saw this come across an Instagram ad as I was literally just doom scrolling because, you're up and it's not a productive up. So you're just laying there like you're dead and you wish you could get more things done. So I am so proud of this find because it was my most productive 3 o'clock in the morning find. So at that hour, guys, I was awake enough to hit them up on their contact form, small little, paragraph to be like, I'm not nuts. This is what I do. And this is I think this would be a perfect fit. Do you wholesale? Then of course I went to the website and saw they did. So then I just sort of changed it and explained a little bit about my llama farm and all the different venues that we do, not knowing if they do those, but I know I haven't seen them before and I've been out there long enough. So I was just beyond excited because I think it's the coolest product. It looked beautiful and it is beautiful. And it's an amazing price point. From there, as I've told them, now I see all of their infomercials and all this stuff. And I feel subpar. I am holy crow. It looks like $1 million operation with how sophisticated their, commercials and things like that are. So I don't really know what direction to start in because they have an alpaca farm. It is, I was going to write it in front of me. Is it Rolling Oaks?
Oak.
Rolling Oak Ranch?
Alpaca Ranch. Roar. Yeah.
Okay. Rolling Oak Alpaca Ranch. Love it. So, there's that side of it, which of course, as a llama breeder and assuming you're alpaca breeders, there's that part of it. And then we've got to jump into, and I'm not even sure, is it alpaca-lets?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to shut up for a minute and I would love for you both to introduce yourself. And I'm not really sure where you want to start, but I guess you got to start in the beginning because you couldn't have gotten here without having the alpacas. And so I'm sure it starts there, or at least I would think it starts there. I don't know.
Yes.
So
yes.
Introduce yourselves.
Okay.
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Judy.
It's my mom, Judy.
And it's all her fault.
It's all my fault.
Yes.
Yeah. I learned how to crochet, it's been a while, over 15 years ago. And I wanted immediately softer yarn. The acrylic pulling across my fingers did not feel nice. And so I did a Google search and I found that alpacas were raised by the Incans to be fiber of royalty. That's what came up when I searched soft yarn. And I was like, oh, I gotta have that. But I couldn't find any local. And that was before the big stores carried alpaca, which that's a whole nother story.
So wait, how long ago are we talking then?
Like 15 years.
Yeah, we have Hobby Lobby and Walmart, and you're not going to walk in and find good alpaca yarn.
So wait, I think first, and what might be important is for people to know where you're located, because that's part of it. For some of us that live in different areas.
We're in Southern Illinois, so we're almost Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're 5.5 hours from Chicago.
Yeah, we're the bottom of the state, nowhere near Chicago.
Illinois.
That was going to be one of my questions, actually. So you're south.
Opposite ends. There's 36 miles left between us and the very bottom tip of the state.
Okay. All right. Well, then I guess you're not meeting us at a llama show that we do. But
No, no, but you probably know somebody from our neck of the woods at that llama show.
Yeah, that's
probably, it was,
Dale Russell.
oh my God, of course. Absolutely.
We know Dale.
we know Dale.
Absolutely.
She,
Yeah.
she lives about 30 minutes from us.
Okay, good. So there we go. We already have commonalities. But yeah, that's why I was wondering because, of course, for me, it's all relative to either where I shear or where I travel for llama shows. And I just run that 80 right across Ohio and then into Illinois. Or does Illinois or Indiana come first? I can never remember.
Indiana, then Illinois.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. Yeah,
All
I
right.
didn't know
All
which
right.
way we were
I
going.
just know not to speed in Ohio because we get tickets there. So anyway. All right, so that's the important part because, again, for some of us that are in the Northeast or in areas where, like, maybe yarn stores are more prevalent or a different, demographic, perhaps. So I think that would explain why it's something
We're in the middle of the Midwest, rural, in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, there went her search for, softer yarn.
Yeah, and I found my first three alpacas on Craigslist, and I asked her if I could put her at her farm, which was empty. I was already married at the time, by the way. My husband did not know what was coming. And that was in 2011 when we got our first three alpacas. It grew up to over 40, and we were like, this is a lot. And so we backed down, and now we're at 23.
Okay.
And for the past 8 years, we have sheared them ourselves. She does the shearing. So
Okay.
we do shearing too. And now we have a couple Pygora goats that we also shear.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I share a couple of them. So I want to back up though with your alpacas. Just curious, like your ratio. If you do your own breeding, you doing outside breeding? Do you do a mix? Like how many females
Yes.
versus males?
The answer is yes.
A mix.
So yeah, we actually have two breeding males. And so some girls need some things and some need others. So that male covers, some and this male covers these guys. And we have done a couple of off-farm breedings as well. We have a girl that we genotyped that she is capable of producing any color, and she is a rose gray. And so we bred her to a Harlequin, not too far from us, about an hour and a half away from us. And he's very nice, uniform fleece. For us, it's all about uniformity and health. Health didn't used to be our top pick when looking for animals, but it is now. So yeah, we do some off-farm outside breeding and mostly our own, but a little bit of outside.
What's your like about how many crias do you have a year? Just curious.
It ends up being like two, but I breed for like five or more.
Yeah, we had a rough year a couple years ago.
13th year. That was last year.
Yeah, was it last year?
Yeah.
It was our
It's
13th
been a long year.
And everything was nothing that we did. We had, what did we lose? 4, 5?
I think we had 5 and we lost 4.
Yeah, we had 5 babies, we lost 4.
All different. We had necropsies and all of them.
After they were on the ground, you mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know, a necropsy is an autopsy for animals.
Yeah.
So we took them to the vet college
Yep.
and they were all unrelated. It was just a bad year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was born with no nostrils.
We had those things, and so I think actually I would say pretty much since COVID, this community has cultivated to what it is, and I try to do my best, right, to share the goods and the bads, as well, because it's all part of it. I think it's important to to see all of that. But it's hard.
Not always butterflies and rainbows.
It's hard, yeah.
There's the heartache that comes with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was just curious. I mean, for me, I only have maybe 2 to 5.
Yes.
I never, and that's planned, meaning I'm not breeding for 7 and getting 5. Like I'll breed, maybe 2 to 5, and that's it. So yeah, we're pretty small, and we're usually only at about 20-ish, as well. So probably, very similar in that sense.
This year we bred 7. And I know for sure two have stuck.
Yeah, but we've ultrasounded also. Like last year
Yeah.
we had the vet come out and do ultrasounds. Girls were confirmed pregnant,
Three of them.
and then somehow, like during the summer, they must have slipped them because we got to fall and no babies.
We had three in the fall and two in the spring. We had the two spring ones and then none of the fall ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and it's
think
so frustrating, right? Because they know like you're waiting a year virtually,
Yeah.
and at least you can check on the seasons, right? So if you're breeding if you breed in spring, you can try to check in fall. And if maybe 6 months later in fall you've lost it, you can, try to jump back on before it's too late or too cold. But,
Yep.
it's, yeah, I mean, I know all too well, it's like that waiting, waiting, waiting. And then when it doesn't turn out the way you want, that's always a bummer, but that's part of farming. So,
Yep.
and so now you do the shearing yourself. So curious, like, was that just you took a little time to be able to learn it, or was there a reason? Obviously, as a professional shearer, I don't actually specialize in alpacas. I will do alpacas standing up, so more pet type alpacas, because we have a restraining chute that is geared towards llamas, but it works for alpacas as long as they're handled, halter broken, that kind of thing. And I always say I have an app for everything. So as I'm sure alpacas love to like throw themselves down if they don't feel like it, or they like to jump up if they don't feel like it. And so we have things to work with, but
Yes, they do.
it doesn't work for
We shear
all
on
of
a table.
Yeah, I table shear.
exactly.
Yeah,
So it,
it
they walk
tilts.
up to it
Yep.
and we strap them in it
Yep.
and then it tilts up flat. And then we do one side and I'm the fiber collector mostly. I don't have a desire to want to shear them, but she's teaching my husband, the guy who didn't know that we were ever going to have alpacas. So he's learning to shear now.
Yes. Well, the need to shear myself came because I was doing my last shearing in the rain. Um, when you hire a crew to come, you're on their schedule, and it doesn't matter if it rains or snows, you make the schedule. They're showing up. And
Fast paced.
we had an entire barn full of fleeces laid out
Oh, because they were
because
wet.
they were wet.
So you didn't have a way to be able to keep the animals dry or anything like that.
Well, they were under the lean-to side where we had them all pinned, but
Yeah.
with the wind blowing and, alpaca fleece is moisture wicking, so it's still got a damp feel to it.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, this is crazy. And then, if it's cold, it doesn't matter. Now you got to get all the coats and sweatshirts out to put on all your naked babies. It's no. So I decided I'm going to shear myself, and then we can shear when weather permits.
We only do like up to 5 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
we take our time.
what I always tell people, which I'm sure right? Do you want to part with your time or your money? That's what I always say. And as I'm sure if somebody else is coming in, granted, it's not always ideal, but you're going to clear your calendar, you're going to get your whole herd done, versus when you're doing it yourself. And this is true for my own animals. Like,
Yeah.
Shoemaker's daughter has no shoes. Like my animals are like getting short at 9 o'clock at night. I don't maybe get to brush them out. Half of them I feel like sometimes are on halter train. It's just, or you have all intentions, right? And then business pulls you this way, or there's something else that happens. So it's
it too well. Yes.
It's a double-edged sword, right? When you're doing it for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So as the business grows, we plan to add on to our barn. And then when we grow again, with that barn addition in the next couple of years, we may go back to letting someone else come. Because it won't matter. We'll have this whole new section of enclosed barn. I can heat it if it needs to be, whatever. And then someone else can come in and wipe it out all in one day, which will be easier for us. We're actually certified sorters as well.
Yep.
And
you might want to explain that. And I want to first ask, so the farm is whose residence?
Mine.
Okay.
My house is here too.
We are putting a house on property for Morgan, so she should be in it in the next month or two.
I have 2 kids and a husband, so there's 4 of us.
And otherwise, how far away have you been thus far in terms of being?
She has already sold her house and is in my house until this one is done.
We're on half of with 2 kids and a husband.
So
Well,
it's working out just fine. So it's good to have her on property. So it's,
and
whenever
are
there's a
both of you
crisis.
doing this full time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Was that always full time? Alpaca farming and
No,
No.
I worked in the pharmacy for a long time, and
okay.
that's where I was when I got the first 3 alpacas.
Okay. That's when you
Yeah.
got
But I had my son and I wanted to homeschool him. And so
yeah.
that's what I left the pharmacy for that. So he is homeschooled. He's 13 now.
Nice.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And my husband is retired from Illinois Department of Corrections and wanted to drive a truck of all things. So we actually had a trucking company. We had drivers leased onto us for a while. I got my CDL. That was never on my bingo card, but I got a CDL license and we hauled cars. And I had an 8-car trailer and drove cars all around the country. Ended up with a dedicated run down by Brunswick, Georgia, from St. Louis to Brunswick. And then we were running primarily Brunswick to Atlanta. So
Any
we
type
got
of
our fifth
cars in
wheel.
particular?
Yeah, we were actually moving military personnel that were
Oh,
going on permanent duty station. So we would
interesting. That
go
was
to,
not where I thought you were going to go at all. I was figuring like, cars go into the fancy auctions like Barrett Jackson or, collectible cars or things like that.
those would be the big enclosed trailers. No, they get more money than I got. Uh,
Okay.
so we were primarily moving those. So we would pick them up at their check-in points and do the full inspections, and then we'd haul them down to the port or storage, whichever way. If their vehicle was going with them overseas, it went to one of about 3 different ports that we would take it to. And if it was going to storage, there was a huge storage facility in Northeast Georgia that was an old converted textile mill, actually
Oh.
made into a auto storage. This place was huge. I just couldn't imagine it as a textile mill, knowing what I know about textiles. I'm like, how could you have filled this place? It was huge. So really neat.
And then so all of that to say, then you got the 3 alpacas.
Yeah, we
And
got to circle back, don't we?
And no, that's right. This is what this is all about. And then, and then things grew so big, then you scaled it back. So where was the point in which you decided to then, I'm assuming you're not doing the trucking business any longer. You had obviously left the pharmacy to homeschool, your child or now children. So was there a point in the business in which you saw it? Because look, for many people, and I don't, you definitely, based on your timeline, got into alpacas when it was at a higher point versus, I feel like it's pretty common knowledge. I mean, in terms of where the market is now. So I'm curious about that in terms of whether, you hit a point, was it because the sale of animals that you were like, great, I think we can make our money off of this? Or was it then turning, was it yarn? Like, what was that step in which you decided to throw it all in?
Well, that would have been a great idea because we were making that much money with the animals that we needed to do that. But in reality, the broker that we were working for lost their government contract, and another broker came in, cut the rates in half. And my retired husband says, I'm not going back out fighting anything else. I'm retiring from this too.
Okay.
So, listed the truck and trailer, sold it within an hour, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing that we got out of it right when we did. But the the farm was kind of taking off. We were doing more, and it took off because the husband
My
that
husband.
didn't see any of this coming. Before we had gotten up to large numbers,
We had 7 at the
he
time.
was at 7, and he said, "Hey, listen, you're going to have to figure out how to make money from these things, or you're going to have to get rid of some because they're getting expensive."
Hay and feed is not cheap.
So that's when we started making a few things
Okay.
and doing a
This
local
was all
farmers
around,
market.
just so I want to, this was all around the same time of when COVID hit.
No, this was right before that. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of Everything has kind of just
Yeah.
fell in. Nothing was ever
We're
planned.
talking
No,
2020
and it
at
never
this point.
is. I mean, if anybody
No.
says they have a 5 or 10 year plan, I mean, I couldn't even tell you llamas was at all in anywhere of mine. But I was just curious because, for so many people, right, we all had to pivot as a result of COVID. And
Oh,
so,
so much pivoting. Yes.
yeah, so that's where I was just curious. I didn't know if that was your impetus of like, we need to figure this out, or it kind of started a little bit beforehand.
My
Because,
son turned 2. I decided to leave the pharmacy. The alpacas, I wasn't making any money, just my husband was. And he was like, hey, they're kind of expensive. So he said, you need to make them make money. Well, I got them for yarn, right? And I
yeah,
learned how to spin. We, up till now, I mean, now we know everything pretty much. We've done everything, right?
yeah,
But at that point, I had knit, crochet, and spin.
okay.
And so we decided to go set up at our local farmers market, tiny little town, just tiny little town.
I have to ask, where were you getting your yarn milled or at the time?
I
Oh,
was
hi.
spinning
Well,
it.
oh, yeah.
I was spinning
Early
it.
on, we were spinning it
It
before
was
we
all
were.
hand spun.
Yeah.
Wait. So were you washing, carding, spinning, all of it from the start?
Yes.
Yes.
Lord bless you. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we did. You should have seen us right before Christmas. I would literally be sitting at the wheel spinning, and she would be knitting it as fast
I
as it
mean,
was going to go.
I did start as a spinner, right? Like I did the same thing, but I did have somebody else wash and card and it came back to me. I spun and then trotted down to my little farmer's market with like my basket of yarn to
We
sell.
learned we could do that when we started working with the mill. So then we would have them card it. And
Yeah.
then we moved into having them make the yarn.
And are you still using the same mill today?
No,
No.
the mill that
We
we
love our
started
mill
with,
now, though.
yes, the mill that we started with actually retired, and they sold the mill.
Mm-hmm.
But even before
Correct,
they,
that's happened.
yeah, even
Yeah.
before they did, we kind of started moving some of our stuff over to another mill just for some
We
things
would
weren't always coming back the way we asked.
we would
Oh,
meet
no,
mills
we've
at
all
shows.
had, yeah. I mean, I've all had, we've all had those things. And I mean, that's, again, I mean, and I'm not asking and nothing that you want to share, you're welcome to. But for me, because I still base my primary, I shouldn't say my primary business on yarn, because my community knows right now yarn is at a premium because post COVID, so many mills have closed, like you said, retired. I keep everything US
Prices go
based.
up.
So yeah, I could make a phone call and get a bunch of stuff shipped from overseas and go
No,
from there, but that's not my model. So
no, ours either.
yeah,
So
so
we,
that's why
America's,
I think it's so important, for knitters to understand whether they're buying these or they're buying yarn. Like it doesn't grow on trees; it grows on an animal that only gets shorn once. There's difficulties. You don't always have the number you plan on, and just so on and so on. So again, that's not to delve into any personal information you don't want to share, but they know
oh
all
no.
the trials and tribulations of like mills closing. We even went through. We have another drop coming this week that I'm excited about. But I had a collaboration I did with a friend of mine. She saved all of her favorite fleeces from her one ewe that I sheared. I took a bunch of really nice llama yarn, same color. We were going to have this whole thing done, and the yarn came back, and it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. And
Oh
I
no.
still had to pay for it, right? But we learned, we use that as a lesson with the community for them to understand it doesn't just magically come out perfect when you're working
Well,
with small mills. So that's my background for asking, because it's really just great to hear other people, sometimes have the same things as well.
we have a mill that we use now. It's America's Natural Fiber Works in Somerville, Ohio.
I'm so sorry she does not do sheep that's not been washed.
No,
No,
no, no. But wait,
but
I asked,
it's Carrie and Rob.
do
It's
they
it's a husband and
de-hair?
wife.
Do they
And
de-hair?
do what?
Do they de-hair?
They
They
have
have
a fiber separator.
fiber
Yes,
separator.
they sure do. And yes, they will do llama. And tell her
Oh,
that
wait,
Judy and
wait,
Morgan
wait, wait,
sent you.
wait. Say that name again slowly.
I'll
America's,
put it in the chat.
yeah, it's America's Natural Fiber Works. And
Thanks.
Carrie and Rob are the husband and wife that run the mill, and they are fabulous. We've worked with them for years now, so they know us. They know our standards. They know what we like. And having a mill that you have a good, close relationship with means a lot.
Oh, I had mine for 15 years. Their
You
child I
understand.
pretty much raised. Normally, every Christmas, their kid is with me. They're from Kansas. She spends every summer with me. I mean, yeah, I had them for 15 years, and that was my post COVID, like retired, went back to weaving. So yeah, that's why I was just in. It's yeah, it's just it's a hard thing, and that whole deherring thing, which was why I was curious about, because that's a huge thing. There's not
The
a
must in the
We
llama
we
world.
call that that because see, we're certified sorters and
yeah.
we're very, very
Very
picky
picky.
about fiber. We're so
We're the
picky.
pickiest, and we
So
know that
tell everybody. I know what it is, but tell them what a certified sorter is.
Yeah, so we took a class through
through SUNY Cobleskill.
they're out of
Okay.
New York, but we took a class with them and we were apprentices for like 3 years before we got our certification. But what it is it's looking at the individual hair follicles basically
The
on
fiber.
like a microscopic level, except you're doing it with your eyeballs. And you have to grade the fiber, which it alpaca comes in like 6 different grades. It's just softest to coarsest. So yes, alpaca is in different ranges as well. It's not all super soft. It's got different
Well,
ranges.
it is because it's alpaca. It's
It's
just
still
different
soft.
levels of super soft.
But you wouldn't want to wear like the grade 6 is the coarsest. You wouldn't want to wear that right next to your neck. That's where you'd want like the grade 1 and the grade 2 or even a grade
Right,
0.
because let's be real, it's not all gold. You have animals as they get older, their fleeces are going to get coarser.
Yep.
You breed for fiber, but there's plenty of alpaca that I shear, just like there's plenty of llama. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. But again, it's so important when we're talking about small mills, fiber farming, not mass production, that people do understand that this is genetics. This is something people select for, or even in a grading process, so there's not every alpaca fleece is like, and going to be, the most loveliest of yarn, but it all has a purpose. That's
That's
what
right. And so
has a
the
purpose.
way I like to describe it to people, like when we do our farm tours, our guided tours, when we get to the end, I have two skeins of yarn and I tell them we're going to have a test and they all freak out. And I'm like, no, it's a fun test. So they get to feel the two yarns. They pass them around and I've got them doing a grade 1 and a grade 4. And most of the time they can tell that there's a
Yeah.
difference and they get it right. There's always a few that don't. And I tell them that's okay because what you're feeling is the uniformity because a uniform fleece will feel wonderful in your hand still. And so then I tell them, and I can tell the whole group here, I'm sure some of you have remembered seeing TV commercials for hair conditioner where it shows a magnified human hair under a microscope, or maybe you've seen it in a textbook. And all natural protein fiber, so all natural hair, has scales that come off of that. And so now if we're looking at micron and different types of animals, if you think wool coming up off of that shaft, the wool comes off frequently and doesn't go very far apart. That is different in an alpaca, the same micron. Okay, let's just say that we have an 18 micron. That wool is going to be coming off like this. And an alpaca is going to come off a lot less. So an 18 micron alpaca is always going to feel softer to you than an 18 micron wool.
Mhm.
And then you move into Surrey alpacas. I'm talking Wakaya. And then if you have Surrey alpacas, that's even better. Um, they have like a cool silky hand and are very drapey.
Yes. It's
But
a
we
very
raise
heavy,
Wakaya.
dense with a lot of luster.
Yes.
It doesn't have
Yes.
soft. My people should know some of those terminologies. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. So definitely
For
operate.
anybody who felt, those scales are what lock together with the
Well,
silk
yeah,
pattern agitation.
This is why wool felts faster than alpaca does
exactly.
because of those scales. They'll lock together faster.
And I'll say at the same time, as a spinner, like when you were saying, Morgan, when you first learned to spin, I'm curious because in the early days, I worked at a yarn store teaching people how to spin. And inevitably, I would have them utilize wool because I would say it has more stick-to-itiveness. It's not going to get away from them as fast. Meanwhile, I learned on llama just because that was, what I
You
had
had. Yeah.
and what I wanted to work work with, but it definitely gets away from you, if, just when you're in that learning process. So, I don't know if you remember from your early days of learning to spin, or if you were like me, you just had alpaca, so you spun alpaca.
I learned on Romney, and
Really
I
awful, Robbie.
absolutely hated it because that's what the yarn store told me I needed to learn with. And spinning took me like 3 years to learn because of that. And then I met someone who said, nah, you should be spinning what you have. You should learn what you have and what you're going to be spinning.
I
So
love that.
And
now
yeah,
I teach now, but I don't have time.
neither one of us ever liked spinning wool. It's funny. I started, well,
Romney
she
though.
taught me how to spin then, right? And so she gives me this wool. No. And so she's like, well, just try the alpaca. Picked it up just like that. Just was easy as could be and never looked back. I don't spin wool.
No, and it's amazing. And even though, yes, I will teach people on that seemingly when I'm selling roving or people are asking, that's exactly what I say is do what attracts you and interests you. Because
Yeah.
even when I first learned to knit, I didn't want to use my own yarn. And I remember I got like crappy needles, I got crappy yarn, it had like ugly plastic stitch markers, and I just was not interested whatsoever. And then I got my lantern moon needles and my fancy stitch markers with my little gems and things, and then use my own yarn. And it still is hardy no matter how many damn times you have to rip it out, but
Life's too short for crappy yarn and crappy tools.
That's
absolutely
right.
amen to that for sure.
Oh,
I
but I
love
can wrap up real quick what our sorting does. So we talked about the
Yeah.
different grades. We've been hired by farms before to come on their shearing day or just to go through their bags of fiber that they have sitting around. And what we do is we hope that they have their blanket. So the main part, hopefully your people know, blanket, the
Mhm.
barrel of the animal,
Barrel.
separate from the legs and neck. Hopefully that's all separate. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll go through that blanket and we not only skirt it, but we're also looking to grade it. And we're hoping the whole thing's the same grade, but a lot of times the edges are a different grade. And we're opening it up over black paper, white paper. We have our samples of the different micron samples that take with us. We have a light, a nice bright light, and we will determine its grade and put it into a bag of all of this is all the same grade and same color. And we'll have 6 of those, and then we'll have our seconds. And then we tell the farm what to do with each of those bags. Hey,
Mhm.
make this into yarn. This is going to be great for hats, or maybe over here on the grade 4, hey, make some socks, or some mittens, something to wear, outerwear.
And I
Laura
love that
has
you say that too, because yes, we use a lower quality, right, fleece for something like socks. But I love when people come and shop for it and then they take the sock and they put it against their face. And I'm like, no, if your feet feel like your face, I want your feet. But right, like people do that all the time. We're like, it's your feet, people. You want something a little more durable and it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be quite as soft.
Laura has a good question for you guys.
And I did see that. So thank you, Erin. And so I'll jump in with that. So Laura's just asking in the chat. So Laura, as far as wanting straight llama or alpaca and then the benefits of blending wool into it, so you can have straight llama or alpaca. It just depends on what you're doing with it. Blending wool into it is going to add what we call memory. And I know Laura's a little newer with us, but that memory, I don't want to call it stretch. It's more like bounce, or again, it's memory. So if you're looking for your most optimum, I guess, versatility in terms of whatever it is that you're going to knit, you get your softness from your llama or alpaca, and then you're going to get that memory or that spring that can often help a garment hold its shape. I don't always feel like that's the end all be all, because there's people that are allergic to wool. I love my yarns that are an alpaca silk blend or a llama silk blend, but that's going to definitely carry a little bit more drape. Or you have to also choose the stitches that you're working with. If you don't have wool in your yarn, in my opinion, you shouldn't be making something that's stockinette, maybe something that's got a bit more of a rib or a cable or something that's going to help hold it so that it doesn't drape too much. I don't know if you guys want to add to that description of why.
Yeah, if
She's
you're,
saying that somebody said you have to, and I don't think you have to, but there are benefits to both ways.
yeah, if you're going to be making, a heavy sweater, yeah, you might want to think about that because if you did use, straight alpaca, it's going to be pretty heavy. it's going to weigh a lot. It's gonna stretch it down. So if you're going to make a sweater with a heavier weight yarn, then yeah, you might want to have just, 20% wool in it, maybe. Um, if you're going to use like a fingering weight yarn to make a lightweight sweater, 100% alpaca, 100% llama is great. We make 100% headbands. We make 100% hats. We
But
make
remember,
100%
we've
scarves.
also sorted the fleece for that. So we're looking at
Grades
the
1
gray.
through 3.
You're also looking at the amplitude and the frequency of the crimp in that fiber. So
That's how many crimps per inch you're getting, correct?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
we're using these fleeces that they're not gonna stretch. They're gonna stretch out.
Yeah. So that's using our own herd, for example, we did a hard cut on our herd. If they weren't capable of producing the type of fiber that we wanted, or were too mixed grade, we sold those animals. And
We only needed so many dryer balls.
yeah, you know, and what we did, we do show, we have shown, we
I was
have
just about to ask you that because in my head, not to cut you off, and I'm not saying that you're choosing fiber over conformation, but at some point in time, you have to pick and choose. I mean, I try to breed for what I call fiber form and function. I want them to have great conformation, great fiber and great functionality because we do performance and we do public relations, but you can't always have it all. So yeah, I was curious if you show and, or where your priorities are in terms of, conformation versus fiber quality.
we want the whole package.
All of it.
Yeah.
Health, fiber, conformation.
Yeah, and so, seriously, our herd is probably a little more expensive.
But not
than
all at
others.
once. We worked
No.
our way up to that.
We have. As a matter of fact, we're still making payments on some that we went up and bought in Maryland, actually. And Black Barn alpacas.
You only have Wakaya.
We only have Wakaya.
Okay.
So they came from Finksburg, Maryland at Black Barn Alpacas. Everybody can look them up. Wonderful couple. And so we bought some animals from there that they weren't going to be using in their herd that were very well bred. And they weren't using them because they genotyped them. And they are breeding for black and gray. And
That's
these
it.
animals were not capable of producing black or gray. No fault of the animal, very, very well bred animals. So we knew the person that was marketing their animals. We've worked with her before, and that's how we found out about them. So we flew out, looked at them, and then went and got them. So we're very picky about what animals we have so that we know that we're producing a healthy, better animal that's going to give us good fiber. And then we only make good breeding choices. So I've always told people that just because you can be a breeder doesn't mean you will be a breeder.
Mhm.
So we have several males now that we've produced that one of them shown. He could be a backup breeder, but most of them are fiber contributors. They amazing fiber, but they're not who I would want to breed again. One of them actually is one of the most compact models on the farm. So he's smaller in stature, so that's not something that, we want to pass on. But he's the densest animal on the farm. He shears the most weight. So his daddy provides that density.
Did you get them gelded? Because so oftentimes, I was just going to say, because even in in any livestock world, right? Like oftentimes your females' fleeces can be compromised slightly if you're breeding them. The males' fleeces can sometimes be compromised, when they're breeding or, in that sense. So they always say like your geldings or your wethers, sometimes are like your best fleeces and fiber contributors because they have no other job other than to just take their nutrients.
But unless that animal is a problem where he needs to have those removed, that's something else that we're breeding for here is longevity of fineness. So
and chill personalities.
Yeah. So the daddy, the first stud that we bought, he is, what is he, 12 now? And
What is
he's
he, 10?
still
He's right
giving
here.
us a grade 1. He still provides the finest fiber.
Mhm.
We sent him into, or his fleece into one of the alpaca fleece shows. And as an aged male, still won as a grade 0. So the finest that he could do in his class.
He was 6 at that time.
At that time,
I
he
do
was
think
6,
he's only
yeah.
10.
Is he? I was thinking he was 12
It's
now.
been a long year. I said
It has.
But regardless, we all have too many kids to remember exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you don't know how old your children are, Morgan, we're in trouble. But
Yeah.
we'll let you go on your animals.
Yeah, so yeah, we're breeding for that longevity of fineness. So we see that across our herd now. We don't have really anybody that we need to kick up to dryer balls. It's seriously,
My
uh,
drop balls.
what we have are the seconds, like the shorter neck and some of
Neck usually does soap
the
felting.
the belly, yeah, is what's going into that.
Yeah. The
So,
thirds, legs.
but we buy fiber from other farms that we've sorted.
Well, so that was going to be my next question because look, at some point in time, there is not a justification for more animals to be able to like compensate for enough product. I mean, it's just dollars and cents. It doesn't work out.
And it's a lot more poop to scoop.
Well, it's a lot more poop, it's a lot more mouths to feed, and that doesn't always equate. And, you know, and I've been at that point for a while as well. So I have my fiber farm for the story and for my breeding and for my showing, and of course for fleeces, you know, for diversity. But then, you know, resource.
And because we love them.
Well, yeah, of course, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, it's and then but you're resourcing. So that's why I was curious, you know, in terms of everything that you're at right now, which I have no concept of volume. So you are also taking in outside fleeces as well that you're familiar with and approve, obviously.
Yeah,
That's not my black.
Okay.
No, so this is all grade 3 black. One of our animals is in here, but the rest of this, we bought all of this fiber from Irish Meadows alpaca farm up in Lamont, Iowa.
We went and sorted it.
Yes, she's had several years of fiber that she's got there, and so we were up sorting through a lot of it for her and bought that.
Yeah,
Because there's not now, so the mill that I used to work with in Kansas would actually be like my GC, my general contractor, to get alpaca fleeces for me just to be able to use for like a primary blend in addition to what I had. And there was a larger consortium that was like a hub of a co-op, if you will. And then I feel like I heard that like broke apart, right? So yeah, so and I'm not in touch, you know, with the alpaca world other than just knowing that. So is that all sort of like fallen apart now? Everyone's just kind of operating independently in terms of
Here's
sorting.
the problem with alpaca fleece in the United States. We don't have enough alpacas to support a commercial market, like big commercial market. Like let's say that, you know, the big name brand companies, just Ralph Lauren, you know, the big ones, to pick up alpaca, American alpaca, and make long, huge runs of garments.
Yeah.
We can't support it. Peru can, and their fiber is cheap. It's cheap. So if they're going to do that, they end up importing it. So what happens to all of us here, you know, all of us American alpaca farms? Well, there is kind of a co-op right now. There's a different one that you can send your fleece to, and they're going to turn it into products that you then buy back, but it has everybody else's fleece in it as well.
Right.
So a lot of American alpaca farms are left with, I have to figure out what to do with this on my own. And a lot of the
That's
mills
where-
closed.
Yeah, and that's where that co-op came in, was for those farms.
And the fiber is more expensive. So even for us, if we're going to buy fiber, it's really important to us that we're buying it from American farms, especially for we'll get there eventually, especially for our bracelets. We want it to all be from here in America to help support our American industry, but there isn't really a good thing to do with fleece if you're just a small farm and you just have some animals, you want to do something with your fleece.
Part of the problem with the co-op theory was every farmer wants premium dollar for his fiber.
Yeah.
And that concept doesn't work in the co-op, because if you're paying that, then that now the value of it's
Right.
way up here. People
Right.
aren't going to pay that. They're going to pay it to a point because, like you or us, we raised it, we sheared it, we've raised that animal. It's ours. You can get the full story. It's my farm. You know where it came from. I sent it into a co-op. It's me and 50 other alpaca owners got this yarn made, and hey, now it's really high priced. And yeah, some of mine's in there, and it's harder to justify it that way. And so it's mostly because of partly what the owners were getting for the cost of their fleece. And the other part is everybody wants to think that their animal's really good, right? And then when their fiber got graded, and what they thought was a grade 1 was actually a grade 4, and we got paid, a whole lot less than we think it's worth.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to send my fiber into you anymore. And so then that happens.
Yeah.
So education is key. A lot of farms don't know what they're producing. And so teaching them about fiber is important.
And I know, and I will say, even just in the chat, a couple of people, and Robbie, thank you, just commenting, how interesting it is. And, that's, it really is. I mean, that's what this community is about. And again, for everybody that's here, learning and having a better understanding sometimes of the other side of things, or just even wanting to know about different terminology, different processes. So, I mean, I know I'm geeking out, like I always say, talking about these kinds of things. And I know you guys can easily geek out. We could talk for hours about it. For sure. And the beautiful thing is that, everybody here can listen to it for hours too. So, do know, I mean, even though we're like, oh, we got to get to the product, like you said, education is key. And it's not just amongst alpaca breeders, llama breeders. And look, I know that there's a disparity between the two. I always say, and I'm happy to say, it's just, like back in the day, you guys were Tiffany's and we were like Target, and that's the truth. And, I kind of spent a long time like that. And, now it's sort of, balanced out a bit, dare I say, thank God. Now there's everything from llama toilet paper to, who knows what else. And I'm not kidding. I have llama toilet paper.
They were never Tiffany's, just
well, the alpaca world in general, right? Because constantly, like people, and it's just even about somebody who's not even educated, looking at an animal and then automatically saying alpaca. And for the farm tours that we do as well, like that dichotomy has changed. Like now I'm not busy explaining, no, these are llamas. It's more like, oh, what's the difference? That kind of thing.
They always want to know the difference.
I am so thankful. I don't know about you, but again, back in the day, like alpacas didn't spit, llamas did. It was like, and I mean, there's a whole thing, right? There's a whole meme that people send me where they have the llama and the alpaca and all the mean, horrible things, that llamas are, and then all the things that alpacas are. And I don't care. I mean, my point is, though, is that now I don't even get the spit question anymore. So I don't know.
You get it all the time. Oh, but do you want to know my standard response?
Well, now it's over to you because we don't get it anymore. So apparently now everyone thinks llamas are amazing and they don't spit, and you guys do.
So here's my explanation for it every time. Everybody will get a kick out of this. Okay, so people come. So do they spit like llamas? And I'm like, yes, they do. I said, llamas get a bad rap. I said, here's the thing. I said, we like to think of our alpacas as more like cats, and llamas are like dogs. Llamas are very curious. They want to know who you are. They come up to meet you quicker. They judge you quicker. Oh, maybe you got spit on quicker. An alpaca is like the grumpy cat. And he's like, yeah, no, go away. Yeah, no, go away. Okay, I'm giving you a warning. Okay, you got it, because you didn't listen. So, kind of like a cat. Cat doesn't, well, leave me alone. And
Right.
So that's my difference, is that, yes, they will spit, but a llama is going to judge you quicker.
Well, I don't, I don't know that I will, necessarily support that. But the funny thing is, I say they're all like cats. So I'll give us all credit because llamas equally as well. You're only interesting for about 5 minutes. And then if you don't have anything interesting or
Oh,
they realize you're not that interesting, then they're off, doing their own thing. The only part you might not, then equally flip side, I will say they're all like cats. But if we're going to describe them as dogs, I'll say maybe just in terms of like, I don't want to say the flightiness, but I'll say maybe llamas are more like golden retrievers and,
yes,
alpacas are maybe more like chihuahuas. And I feel bad
yes.
about chihuahuas, but
That's
just
a good
I think that
description.
works.
yeah. So I mean, yes. I mean, and it's it's just that difference. But they're all like give you that side eye.
Oh yeah. Oh, and ours
They all
are so
fit.
well trained, that if you don't have food, we will snub you.
We do a lot of tours, so that's a big part of our farm is agritourism. And we
Sure.
give people feed. We actually just use beet pulp. It's so much
Oh,
easier.
okay. See, I don't let people hand feed mine at all.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
they
they love
get
it.
beat
The
pulled.
alpacas love it too.
Yeah, and it's interesting though because for me, to me, that's where the competition happens. Like if
Some
it's
people love it.
but I mean the competition on my end, then that's where spit happens,
Yeah.
right? Like so it's interesting. I mean, that's a whole nother. I'm telling you, I get guests on here and I'm like, okay, we're gonna need a part two because I am just so always equally intrigued about other people that do the same thing as me because I just love learning from other people. So it's interesting that you hand feed, which I don't, and that's for my own various reasons. But even equally, like my big boys are so kind and gentle, but they love showing off. So we can't bring people in with the big boys because we've got mountains for them. And so as soon as they see new people, like they're up there putting on a show. But if you're in and somebody gets too much attention, like another one will come and sucker punch them, that kind of thing, because
Oh my gosh.
that's how our boys are. But on the other hand, like a toddler could walk them and it's no problem. But in their own
Yeah.
domain, they're like, no, 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 you can't get that much attention or you can't get that much attention. And so, but everything's different. And we do have one alpaca. I don't know if I told you that when we talked.
No.
Judy. Yeah, we're at least here on our farm, it's all about teaching people about all different natural fibers. So, we have the llamas, but we have our one, I call him my one token alpaca, and he's a Wakaya. I do want a Surrey so that people can see
So do we.
the difference. But we, and then we have Angora goats, Angora rabbits, and a couple different breeds of sheep. But yeah, so we have our one token alpaca, and he's in with my big boys, and it's a perfect analogy for people. Again, what's the difference? Let's go see,
I like
right?
it.
So,
I like
So this
we don't
is
have a llama.
we would love a llama
We
and a
talked
Surrey.
about it. It's just we just haven't done it yet.
This is the
Dale has
reason.
tried to get us to buy one.
Well, and
reason
it's
is
only
we're picky.
mostly because the alpaca world, right? Like somewhere along the way, somebody told you needed a llama to guard your alpacas, and we're like, sure, But the funny thing, the funny thing is, my alpacas, when I have them, I had a group of 4. They're almost worse than the llamas. Like we call them the alpaca mafia. I mean,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
they'll herd the cats, like they'll
Oh.
do their own thing.
Oh,
So
our cats can't go in there when
Not with the females. With our
So
males.
I think it's
Okay.
funny. I mean, they're not defenseless; they're just smaller, but they're just as mighty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, this is why I've said I would be very bad at writing a book. I can circle back around. I can do this. We did the farmers market, right? It was
Yep. Hey, it
Okay.
all comes around.
we were making stuff. We've learned so much since then, obviously. We have, we went from hand knitting to we have vintage knit machines.
The flatbed.
We've got flatbed knit machines. We've got Brothers. We've got a Knit King. We have 7.
And you guys are doing
Somebody
everything.
has an addiction.
You're
What
doing
we used
everything on your own.
we do what?
You do everything on your own.
We were, yes. We were making all of our hats, all of our headbands. We even had some yarn made to make fingerless mittens on the knit machines.
This took over. So there's no
So
trying
we
to
had all these we had all these pieces after we would make the hats and headbands. We had like smaller pieces. And so she learned she at a what was it at a fiber show?
It's SAF. We were at SAF.
SAF.
Yeah, absolutely.
took
I've never
Kumihimo.
done, but I've heard.
Oh, I
great
bought a
things about it.
Kumihimo kit.
She bought a Kumihimo kit and learned how to do Kumihimo with all the scrap pieces.
Wait. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Braiding. It's a Japanese
It's a round disc and
braiding.
it has notches in it and a hole in the middle.
I don't have one down here.
I know we don't have one down here. So sorry.
Okay.
Kumihimo disc.
Oh.
And it's
How
for,
do you spell it?
KU.
I'll type it in the
Oh,
chat.
yes, she's gonna type
Yeah,
it.
put- drop that in the chat. I'd never heard of it before. I'd be curious to see if anybody else has.
Oh, I'm sure they have.
yeah, I'm sure they have. It's
So
ancient.
That's what we started with.
That's how we started making bracelets
Yes.
because we had all of this yarn and we had these discs and we were making them all by hand.
Okay.
Like braiding the disc around it goes around in a circle.
Okay.
And so then we had a traveling sales rep peddling his alpaca wares.
Like scarves and sweaters and which we can't make everything and grow.
Yeah.
It's just impossible.
And wonderful man. And so he stopped, and it was his second year here. And he says, you guys are making a lot of these things. He says, I like to add pieces that I can carry in my car, take to shows with me that don't take up more room. What do you have that I could wholesale for you? And we said, well, our bracelets. And he's like, yes, I would like to wholesale those. And so we made up a bunch of them and give them to him, and he's going to farms. And
So he's getting a percentage of the sales.
Right.
That's how that works.
yeah.
Right.
And so he starts needing more and more and doing shows. And Morgan and I are literally making bracelets from sunup to sundown with some poop scooping in
Well,
the
hang on. We did nearly 3,000 in 1 year.
by hand.
Braiding the whole thing by hand. I mean, our bracelets now, they're all hand finished. But
So
like the
I'm
braiding
curious, at some point in time, didn't you run out of scraps?
we had to buy yarn
We were buying-
and mill it just for bracelets.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
I was
had to
gonna
buy
say,
fiber.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But believe it or not, though, half of that was still scraps because we were making so many of our own hats and headbands.
We're talking like
I would-
hundreds of hats
yeah.
and headbands.
I would go through 120 hats a year.
At least 100 headbands.
handmade, and every bit of that in headbands as well that we were
Now, are you still doing that, or has a lot of your
No,
effort?
We just make bracelets. I haven't even touched my spinning wheel in a year.
and so then it was, we can't, this is not sustainable. We can't grow because we can't possibly make any more than what we're making for him.
Yeah.
Because it was all the time
And we were still
had.
selling ours retail,
So-
in our shop.
Yeah. So we knew that we had to industrialize.
Mhm.
And so Morgan did a
I
search.
don't know. That's what that is.
Yeah,
You can't really see it.
that's
That is a braiding machine.
so
Okay.
the big square thing kind of behind Morgan, the big box back
It's just
there.
the box. That's all
You
you
can't
can see.
see the guts of it. It is a braiding machine that sitting
So
on top of our
that
rolling
existed.
box
So
is
it existed. Okay.
pardon me.
Meaning it existed. This wasn't machinery that you created.
Well,
Not
no.
from
So
the
it
country.
has existed. So she reached out to this manufacturing company out of North Carolina that does braiding machines and started a discussion with the owner and told him exactly what we were looking for. He had us send him yarn. It was scary because we sent hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of yarn and cones and skeins and sent it out to him for him to try and duplicate what we were doing. And it came down to he has a sister company in Barcelona, Spain. And that's where the machine had to be made because we wanted a 12 bobbin bracelet for the look of it. And so it was made there and it finally arrived.
It was made for us.
Us.
It was manufactured
Just
to
for
what
us.
we needed. Everything about it, the gears, everything, the way it runs. It was
So
made
it
for us.
kind of was made for us, but it wasn't a new concept. And so
This was a big investment for us. It was very
Yeah.
scary.
I
and
can
they don't make Kumihimo braiding machines.
It's not a thing.
It is not a thing. That it is an old thing. So I think it's the St. Louis City Museum actually has an antique Kumihimo braiding machine there. But if I could find one, I would own it. But so this is just a regular braiding machine.
So
Uh,
I'm curious in terms of what you're starting with. So what weight yarn are you using that goes into them? And
Primarily worsted. There is some DK weight, but primarily worsted weight.
okay, and what's the
12
ply?
strands. Huh?
I don't, that threw me off because I would not have thought that at all. So what's the ply on that worsted weight?
3.
3.
Okay.
I've always, and it doesn't matter for what, unless I'm getting a barber pole, which is 2-ply. I always have the mill make me a 3-ply yarn because
Strong.
I like
It's
the
round.
roundness of it better than a 2-ply.
Okay. And so then the colors and everything that we see here, is that, just because I'm trying to like pull the picture together for everybody and myself. So like the colors that you have, is that like, is the yarn coming back this color?
No.
Or is this a combination of colors together?
This is tied to be dyed. We do all the dyeing.
So yeah, so we've got skeins that are tied off, ready to dye, and skeins back from the mill.
So you guys do all the dyeing yourself?
Yes, I do.
He does it. And then so we have to, then we get the braiding machine. So it's making us back on the wall back there. Those are long braids.
Okay.
And then what we do is we measure them. So all of our work tables in here. This used to be a party room, by the way. For a year, we tried to have a party room. The alpacas are right here.
Yeah.
And we had to take it over. The whole thing's our bracelet workshop now.
So this is a braid.
So that's like this, you mean, before it becomes
Yes.
a bracelet. So I guess
Yes.
what I'm still trying to understand, like for instance, this one here, which almost everyone knows I love my naturals. And of course, with what I was wearing
Me too.
today, I think this one was called Smoke.
Oh,
Is
ranch smoke.
Ranch smoke.
Natural gray.
Natural gray.
Yeah. So like I love that one because it matches what I'm wearing. But like, so this I understand. This is all one color. And then, so all the ones that are one color, I understand. What I don't understand is when you start to have like these multicolors. So I'm trying to understand like,
The machine has bobbins on it. Same as if you had that disc or if you've done Kumihimo, you might be able to picture it a little better.
So here's some yarns that I just ran today that are, I don't know if we can get that.
and you have stock, like regular stock colors, right?
So I've dyed
Oh,
all
no.
of these.
They're hand dyed, so they're all going to be a little different. So we
Oh, okay. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
only have so much of each run, and then it's
Gotcha.
gone.
Gotcha. So on like for instance, when we shopped for making this wholesale purchase, and this is just for even everyone to understand. I see it. Okay.
Bobbins.
What I can't still understand though is that and every mill has a different definition of worsted. So I'm still not understanding how that is how a 3-ply worsted is in here and then multiple strands of 3-ply worsted. That's the tiniest like worsted I feel like I've ever seen.
I
So
feel like we should take them on a road trip to the
No, it's
machine.
okay. It's not
Okay.
it's not really super lofty. We have them do a tighter spin.
okay.
And the machine itself is very tight. So there's like no air gaps.
This is important because that's one of the things like when I feel this, unlike a yarn, I mean, yes, you've got a little bit of halo, but you've got something that's got to be able to be tight enough to withstand wear and tear and, not pull and pill.
That's also why we're not putting grade 1 in the bracelets.
Exactly.
But there will be some grade 1 and some grade 2 that'll be
Sometimes.
coming in our necklaces.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You want a different feel against your
The bracelets do they kind of felt over time and they look so cool
Okay.
when they're kind of like not halo felt, but like hard felt.
Yeah, it almost have a soft, silky feel
Yeah.
to it once
Over time.
they start felting down from wearing
So we've been making these for 5 years now. The
Yeah.
machine's only been here since
February.
February of last year. Oh, sorry, February of this year.
It's not
It's
next
been a
year
long
yet.
year.
So, but I want to go back because I know the perils, which I love. Like, right, I do, yarns and we'll dye them, and it's limited run. When it's gone, it's gone. But God bless you then in terms of like keeping up on your pictures on the website, I mean, people are going to understand there's some kind of variation. So then I'm assuming once you have a color that's not available, then that's off and a new one's in. And are you constantly having to cycle those? Like if you have a name for, there was no way I could memorize the names.
No, that's fair.
But like, like a solid color is easy. I understand that. But when you have these multicolors and then essentially if the dyes come out a little differently, are you still calling them all the same thing and it's just, variation of color or?
So there are some that, yep, limited runs, one time and done, because Judy had fun with the dye and it's not repeatable.
We probably
right?
mixed some powders together. We don't
Yep.
know how she did it.
Yep, because life's too short for boring stuff, right? But some of them are absolutely repeatable, and I have run them again.
Cool.
Especially when
The stone and
the stone and sage, so
Stone
it has a
sage,
lot of
okay.
naturals in it.
ranch smoke has been run twice, but that's because it's natural. So the ones with naturals are a lot easier.
Yeah, and I don't think you have the stone and sage one though.
I don't think so.
But
I don't know.
another one,
I just
Highland
ripped them all
Blue.
off.
Highland Blue. It's
Yes,
the blue.
actually, and I don't know if the only reason why I know that one is because somebody bought it last night. Like I gave a little sneak peek and I was like, look, if you're paying attention, you can go on the website because they're there and there's only a limited amount of,
That one really
that
is
was good.
limited.
Yeah, and so actually
is that
Highland
this one?
Blue is our number one top
Yeah, that's going to be
seller.
limited also because
Yes,
we hand painted that after it was braided.
yeah.
So let me, and that's a really good point because Catherine was just asking to talk about sizing. And
Yes.
so the one thing I'll say, Jill, my office manager, knows on my end, I don't make decisions well when there's too many options. And of course, there was like way too many options here. But thankfully, she was on board. And what we decided was, in terms of wholesale options, let's just get every color so we can start to see like what people like and what people grab because everybody likes something different. And then, of course, we struggle with the sizing. Now, for me, and I'm glad we did it. I mean, originally we were going to go 6, 7, 8 because I just wanted the same sizes across the board because I didn't want people to get too confused. And we didn't really get to talk to you guys about it. And we might want to change things, but I didn't want to have I think we started out, there were some colors that weren't available in some sizes. And I'm like, I just want all the same sizes. So at least I want to say from my perspective, because the people know me and my people, but then I'd love your input. So as it turns out, the 6.5, now believe it or not, guys, as big as Jill is, I'm like, how do you have such little feet and little arms? Like, how do you not fall over? But Jill can fit in the 6.5. Jill can fit in the 6.5 comfortably with room to spare. At the same time, guys, Mimi, who will also be a guest, but Mimi works for me. Mimi's my tiny little 5 foot, 100 pounds soaking wet. And she also easily fits in the 6.5. So it's so weird because Jill is so tall. Jill's 5'8", and a bigger boned person. Now me, on the other hand, I mean, I'm only 5'5", but you guys know I'm well built, let's just call it. So the 6.5 barely fits on my wrist. I mean, it fits, but I don't have any room. So I'm to show you guys, I'm wearing the 7.5s. Could I fit in a 7? Sure, but I mean, I just didn't want to, and I like the flexibility and a little bit of the wiggle room. We still went up. I forgot to throw one on Christopher's wrist, but we still went up. I think Christopher is a 9, and that's my husband. He's 6 foot something, horseshoer, so a bigger boned guy. But I definitely think maybe larger frame people, the 8.5 is also going to be fine. But so
does the 8.5 fit him? Just out of curiosity.
I'd have to call him in here,
Okay.
but I really should
We've had a request for a 9.
Yeah, we've had
So-
2 different people have requested a size 9 now, and we're
That's
like,
why I'm asking.
that's a
Oh,
lot.
well, so I was going to say, so can you, I'll go grab him. He'll love it. But can you guys talk about the size
Yes,
from your
I have this.
perspective? That would be great.
Yeah, I have this to show everybody how to size your wrist. So that's upside down and backwards. I'm so sorry. No, it's probably still backwards. I'm sure everybody, if you're a knitter or crocheter, has some form of a measuring tape. If you don't, use a piece of string or a piece of yarn and then lay it flat on a ruler. But you just want to wrap it around your wrist. Hi, can you help me?
I
Okay.
can't see. Oh,
And
here we
find
go.
where it overlaps. So for me, it should be around a 6. Yeah, because I've measured my wrist before.
Yeah, she's
Right
right
where
at about a six, six and
6
a,
or 6.5. And
depending on
that's,
where you measure.
I can't, I wear about a 6.5. I think it measures a 6.5.
So if you measure,
It does measure six and a
yeah,
half.
in front of the wrist bone, you're going to get one size, and maybe behind it
But some
another.
people like them, they like them more like bangles. I like them a little more fitted. This is a
Thanks.
7 on me. So it's got a little bit of a hang, but we make them in half size increments, starting at a 6 up to
So how's it fit?
So this is my husband's arm. And so, I mean, I think actually the 8.5 fits him kind of like how the 7.5 fits. It's a little roomy, like probably just, I'm trying to think. He's almost got about the same room as me. And like I said, he's like 6
Great.
something and, stocky, big hands.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a 6'6" Viking myself. I understand.
Thank
Yes.
you.
But, at the same time, I will say, I don't know how for people to describe, again, I certainly don't want somebody to feel bad if they fit in the 8.5 and they're not a 6-foot man. I mean, the reality is we all have different body
We
types.
all have different size wrists.
And different people like things to touch them differently.
Some people want it to be more of a bangle, so to have more room.
You know what? Let me do this. So let me put the 8.5 on me.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So the
Some people
8.5
want it
on
like
me,
that.
like, and I mean, I usually wear a bunch of bangles. I mean, this is still doable for me. That's like, if you guys can see
Yeah, that's a good angle. You can see how much
Yeah.
is in there. Yeah.
and then it's a little hard because I've got a bunch here, but this is the 7.5 on me, if that helps everybody, versus the 8.5 on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I like this equally because, again, the thing is, it's not metal. So it's not like if you're walking around and you've got metal banging
yeah.
around. So it's comfortable. And I think, yeah, you're right. It depends. I will have to say, now that I'm thinking about it, probably like in the summertime, if I wanted to like wear these, I might not want one that's, as tight fitting. But my question for you would be, with wear, I know you talked about the felting, is there a little bit of give with wear?
No,
Not much.
not really. If anything, it'll stay the same to go a little smaller because of a felting. It's not going to really get bigger unless you're playing with it and
Which is
stretching
fun
it.
to play with because they're all magnetic.
I know
For
they're great.
anybody
So-
with, ADD personality
apart.
types, playing with the clasp is very addictive.
It's a fidget toy.
It is. And well, the nice thing is because it's actually really easy to go on. I mean, again, I'm not saying this. I knew when I found this at 3 a.m, I found a freaking gem and I was so excited. And I told everybody I could tell because again, like I don't know. I think they're amazing. I mean, we're all fiber people. It's something different. None of us are going to be out here making I-cord bracelets for ourselves. Nobody has that kind of time. I mean, again, if there's something that you want to say about it, because I could keep going on forever. Now, this is trademarked, yes?
Yes.
So that same salesman who picked it up and started wholesaling it to farms, he and his wife said, "Hey, these need a name."
Oh yeah,
And-
where did that come from?
It was the sales rep and his wife. He said, "Okay, listen." He goes, "We got something to run by you, and if you don't like it, it's okay. But we'd like to throw this out here because you've got a really good thing here, and you need to protect it." And so we've kind of come up with a name, and so they told us. They said, "We're calling it alpacalets instead of a bracelet. It's an alpacalet."
Instead of an alpaca bracelet.
And I'm like,
Alpacalet.
"Oh my gosh, I love it. Hey, Morgan." And she goes, "Ugh, I hate it."
At first. I just
I'm
hated
like,
it.
"No, I love it." So I designed the little logo, for it. And she's like, "No, I hate it." And we ran it across a bunch of other people and everybody's like, "Oh, I love it. I love it." So she was overruled. And
I love it now. Let it be
yes,
known.
yes, she loves it now.
Things have to grow on you. It's
And
okay.
so then or they said, you really need to trademark it. And so I did a quick Google search for a trademark lawyer
Another
near
expense.
me. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I hear
expensive.
that's to the tune of like $10,000 or something.
Well, I wanted to
Oh,
choose somebody
I
local.
think copyright.
oh,
And the
I don't
trademark
know.
lawyer that I went with, I
Oh, I'm
went
thinking
with,
patent. Sorry. Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
patents
there
are
you
more.
go. Patents are a lot.
Yeah. I
Okay.
went with the one that I went with. I didn't call any other ones. I called him because it said veteran owned. And so, oh my gosh. And then this just goes even further. So I called old Martin and our attorney. Yes, we call him Martin. We're
Call him
good
by his
friends.
first name.
We are good friends
Well,
with
now
our
we
attorney
are.
now. Yeah. And so he's just been wonderful and guided us through getting that. And we actually work a lot with our small business um, community, the
Small Business Development
yeah,
Center,
the SBDC out of Southern Illinois University.
SIU.
And he is very active with them and does a lot of work for them and has helped guide a lot of people. And so our whole world just kind of came full circle by who we picked for our trademark for it.
Yeah. No, and I always say a lot of times in business, small business, what we're all doing, I mean, I don't know, you might be well on your way to being millionaires. I know I'm not ever going to be a millionaire with what I'm doing, and I'm okay with that. So my point is, though, that you have to work with people that you enjoy, value, can develop relationships with, because that's all you have, and sometimes that's worth its weight in gold, I feel.
Yeah, we have a wonderful community that we work with.
So when we worked with the Small Business Development Center, we actually entered their business plan competition. And we had submitted the trademark, it wasn't done. We knew the machine was coming.
Wasn't
It
here.
wasn't done. It was none of that was done, but we submitted our business plan for what we wanted to do with the bracelets. We actually won that competition. So with those winnings, it was several $1,000s. We bought with the winnings a laser engraver. So
So
every single clasp has that Alpacalit's logo right on it.
But
that
I
we
would imagine
engraved.
also was this something that existed? Did you have this manufactured, the clasp itself?
They exist.
The clasps exist. We just engraved the clasps.
We're working on getting our own though.
Okay. I mean, no, this is sufficient. I'm like, is there anything that you have not done from scratch? Which is amazing. Don't get
Oh
me
yeah,
wrong.
so we did get the braiding machine. So there is a machine doing the actual braiding, but all of
Yeah.
it is we're tying them, we're measuring them, we're gluing them all, we're picking all the colors, we're dyeing everything. It's a lot of handwork.
The trimming before it goes, every end is trimmed before it goes into a clasp. And so that's when, a good set of earphones and Netflix comes in because you're sitting there trimming a lot.
They all know I'll be sorting curls for a lot of this, curl work that we do, and I'll just binge watch Netflix. I will
Yes, yeah.
literally have my laptop on my skirting table as I'm just going through curl by curl, endless
I'm
hours.
on Blood of My Blood now, is what I'm watching.
I'm definitely on all sorts of trash TV. It's okay. Everybody knows I've made it through every episode of Love is Blind. I'm like moved on to Married at First Sight. Like anything that's just dumb and
Yeah.
keeps me entertained and keeps me awake, I'm on it on repeat for sure. So I hear you.
It's the Highland Blue. Yes, Stephanie.
I also really love Audible though. So I like books too.
Oh, yes, yes. She's got me into that now too.
Yeah, I do that when I'm feeding animals or doing those kinds of chores when I'm on the go. That's in my ear for sure. So, yeah, I mean, both these are all things that keep us going, right? Because you've always got to constantly be moving when you're small business. I mean, there's a rare time, as I'm sure it sounds like you guys, that you're sitting, not doing something. Because if I'm
What's that?
sitting, I'm labeling, I'm packaging, I'm doing something. If I'm not running
So-
around doing something else.
Do you find that sitting, not doing anything is stressful?
It's hard for me and my community. It's very hard for me to allow myself to do that. Now, I will say, I think Christmas night was the only time I did it, and it was just to catch up on one episode of Landman, of which I was half falling asleep through it.
Oh,
Because,
you can't sleep through Landman.
well,
Man.
I could because I was just that tired, you know. I mean, it's so that's the only time that, yeah, because otherwise, back in the day when I had time to knit, if I was sitting, I was knitting, you know,
Yeah.
and now if I'm sitting, I'm always doing something else.
Yes,
Or
sitting
I'm asleep.
empty-handed is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sitting empty-handed is just, it's like I can't tolerate it anymore.
Yeah.
So
But it's because we love what we do. I mean, and here's
Yes.
and every day is not a great day. And there are days, and we were talking about this was our theme last night with my fiber bestie, Kimberly. And, you know, I mean, there are days where we're not doing our best and we know that, right? But you still have to give yourself grace. You're a human being. There's other factors, there's life, you know, but at the same time, again, we all know we're not going to be rich, but we're doing something that enriches our lives, that makes us happy. And people see the passion. I mean, they can see it just from learning from the two of you today. You know, this is zaniness of me is, you know, what I get when I get to do things like this. But yeah, we do it all because we love it. And that's the commonality of it. And again, I knew it was a gem when I found you guys. And I also want to say that, like, really, it was so amazing that you didn't even question, like, who is this crazy person reaching out? And not only, and here's the thing, because you're like, all right, great, she's going to buy our stuff. Excellent, another sale. But then I'm like, oh, I have this program, and would you like to be a guest? And you were just like, sure. And like, really, that was so nice of you, honestly, because you didn't know me from a hole in the wall. And I mean, granted, you know, we're at about, you know, take all of us here, we're at about 30 people live that are hanging in there on tooth and nail. I know
Thank you,
there will
everybody,
be
for joining.
people, you know, watching it on YouTube, but you know, at the same time, there could have been 5 people. I mean, you still were just kind enough to want to be able to share your information, and like, that really,
We like this. We enjoy this. It wasn't even a question to
love
answer.
connecting with communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I'm already like, how am I going to drive there? I cannot
we're
wait.
not
Come on
huge,
out.
but we're just little
I'll
old
pick you up
us.
at the airport.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
and no,
started with 3 alpacas, you know.
I mean, it's crazy. And again, and I really, again, I'm going to follow up with all of you, because personally, and I'm not going to take the time for this, because look, I told you, I'm like, you want to go before 8 o'clock? Are you nuts? Have you
Maybe
met?
my husband put the 2-year-old to bed.
There hasn't been any dings, whistles, or bells going off. Alarm.
Amazing.
Everything's
So,
good.
I will just say, though, personally, and I really do want to follow up, because I am curious in terms of the level of your marketing that I've seen, and I'm very interested in that. And I'm not going to take the time for here, but I do, like, hats off to you, kudos to you. And I also think, you know, while I love my husband, it's the power of a partnership, right? And there's 2 of you going full bore, you know, along with obviously help from other family members, and that's amazing in itself. So yeah, we don't ever sleep much, right? That's why I was making these cranberries at 1:30 in the morning. So, you know, I so see the power in that, when you've got so many people putting in the endless hours, and I'm jealous of it, and I admire it, you know, for sure, out of the.
And you're doing it too. So
Well,
And this is on top of
but I'm
animal
one
husbandry.
person. I mean, I'm
Yes.
one person. I do
we
have
love each other, and
you know.
it's good.
She has
Yeah.
a broken foot. She's not been much help with alpacas.
Yeah, and it was because of the alpacas that I had a broken foot.
They didn't do anything.
No, it was I was putting them out in pasture, and
We have
one of
uneven
the
ground.
yeah, one of the alphas, it was a new pen for
Female.
them. They've only been going in it for a while, and that female was like, I really want to go in there. I'm going to go this way. And you know, if she goes, the whole herd goes with her. So
Oh,
I grabbed the grate real quick and was pulling the gate back, and I stepped wrong and turned at the same time.
yeah.
Down I went, and it wasn't pretty. So yeah,
No, I mean, you know,
Triple, so
it
she's
happens.
doing everything.
And of course, might I say, because I don't know, I might be in the middle of you two, but right as we get older, you don't fall any easier. And so it's just, you got to be careful of all those things. I can't even imagine if I was to not be physically healthy to do all the things I do. I think I would just about die. But what I would love to, just kind of highlight. So I'm curious in terms of, because I had to jump out and grab a man hand for sizing, like what have you found? Again, for everybody, if you haven't already checked it out, I just opted again for every color, and I think it depended on availability, but there's anywhere from one to, some of them have three, but our goal was to just get two of every color in those three sizes that I mentioned. For folks that are shopping, if you are shopping, if you grab something or you try to grab something and it's not there, I will say these lovely folks are wonderful to work with. So definitely, I'm glad you guys are on early. Because personally speaking, like I can't even imagine why these would not be scooped up. I know nobody here knows about them, and we're all fiber people, and we love things like this. And again, it's an amazing price point for sure. And even in terms of offering wholesale, that part was amazing as well. So I'm curious to see, like, for you guys, size wise or best sellers, or do you find it's all over the board because people like all different kinds of colors, or is it predominantly women? I mean, I guess you wouldn't really know who's shopping for it unless
Actually,
We have the analytics.
we do know who's shopping. And
Mhm.
so the 55 to 75 range
Age group.
is the biggest age group that's
Women.
buying right now.
Sure.
And aside from the Highland Blue actually being the number one,
Is it bigger than Stone and Sage?
yes, when you look
Okay.
over the
Island Blue.
whole year's sales,
One
the
that's really
Highland,
limited.
And
yeah,
it's funny because
is
that's
the
the
number
first
one
one that
seller.
went last night. First one that
Yeah.
went.
And then the next things actually are the naturals. Anything with naturals are.
Interesting. Do you hear that, community? I'm always trying to make yarn seem a little more
But
exciting.
you know what? But you know what's funny? If when you're trying to sell yarn, if it's not dyed in bright color, nobody wants it. And don't even talk
wait.
about brown. Nobody buys brown.
You have no idea. I am losing my mind right now.
So
And
all we do here is
I can't see any faces. Wait, I need to see my faces. They know all the time. And where is Elizabeth Fenton? Because I know you're on
facing us.
right now.
No, what we do is brown,
Oh,
dye it royal purple, and you'll get dark purple,
Beautiful.
and it sells all the time. So just dye all your dark brown royal purple.
oh my gosh. All the time I am like saying to these people, because on the animal, they're like, that's a beautiful color.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
right? I'm like, yeah, but you turned it into yarn and nobody wants it. But brown is lovely. It goes with everything. Yeah, well, why don't you tell the knitters that? So it's a commonality joke.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't
I
sell
am
as
just-
yarn,
I'm,
but it will
I'm
sell as a
done.
product.
I'm like, mic drop. We can just end this right now. I feel so vindicated.
Yeah, no, brown yarn doesn't sell.
Yes. So we're actually working on some brighter colors and hoping to catch the younger crowd.
Well, also our wholesale clients.
The wholesale,
Yeah,
the
because
farms.
I was gonna say the majority of, so guys, like I have no idea. I can't memorize any of these names, but I mean, like I just grabbed kind of like, I thought, okay, if I'm gonna put a bunch on, I probably chose the wrong hand because my tattoo is killing it. But my bigger bangle was on this hand. So I was just like, all right, like, well, what sort of goes with, what I'm wearing? And so I love like this kind of like coral peachy one. I, again, don't know any of the names.
It's okay. I don't know them either because
Good.
she named them all.
I'm like, the
I'm pretty sure I know it.
pictures
So
are on
there's a
Peachy
tag.
Keen. I think it's Peachy Keen.
Yeah, there's a tag hanging on every one of those braids so that I know what it is.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say there is a name in the bags, but I did not, there was too many bags. And then of course we said, I remembered this one was the smoky one. And then, these are sort of like variations. Now, the other thing is like some are a little thicker than others. And I'm assuming, does that have to do with the yarn
Yes.
versus, because like I'll find certain colors of fibers will be a little bit, Amy grabbed the peachy keen.
Yes.
So
Some of it is the different yarns. Some of it's, different weight. And so
That's
like the blue
crossing-
one.
and crisscross, and they have a little bit different multicolor yarn.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
the sun, does she have sun and shade? Yeah.
Yeah.
The sun and shade one actually does have some DK weight yarn in it.
Okay. Yeah, like these two, I
That
feel
blue
like
one,
the smoky the smoky one or whatever that one is, and then the blue and the purple, the solid colors are actually like a little chunkier. I mean, just a
Okay.
tad.
and here's part of that. So the blue one actually was made with a
I think
lace
it's called
weight.
Ocean.
Yeah, the ocean one. So it was made with lace weight that was held together to run on the bobbins. It's like 3 strands on each bobbin of lace weight. And the only reason we did that was because the mill that we used to use called New Era Fiber that closed, they made clothing for you also. Like you could order different scarves and sweaters. And we had sent our yarn in, and that's when Jan's health got bad and they ended up deciding they had to close. And so we got all of our spun yarn back that was meant to make sweaters and scarves with in
Okay.
lace weight on cones because they'd sold and couldn't make it. And I'm like, what are we going to do with this? So I held it together and put it on the bobbins, braided it, and then dyed it. So it was those were a grade 3. That
Yeah.
was a grade 3 lace weight.
It's a great
Now,
versatile.
some of the
And it
some
made
of
it stiffer.
I like the way that one feels.
Do you so are the colors of the magnetic clasps always consistent with the color of the bracelet? I'm just curious because, like, for instance, somebody might be like, I'm so not like most of these are silver, but then this one right here is like a little, it's a different shape and it's kind of like a bronzish color. And then this one here is black. So I'm just wondering, like, are those clasps consistent with the color in case somebody was
On those, yes, but we do
and then
have
some of them
options.
are, I can't tell now in my
Yeah,
life.
we don't change the clasp style on the bracelet.
Okay.
So that color is going to get that clasp.
Okay.
What you see is what you get.
And then the other thing I just discovered wearing them, I mean, you guys might have known this, but when you wear the multiple ones, if you line the clasps all up, they all stick to each other. And so that's kind of cool. I mean, it can move around, but at the same time, they kind of all like grab onto each other. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now, I did not, which I can change this, but I did not grab any of the double ones. So I'm curious in terms of the difference. Now this, guys, is the one that's going in for the keepsake basket. So it does have a different clasp. And then basically it's like a double bracelet that's, you know, bound together in these 2 parts. So Judy and Morgan donated this to go into the keepsake basket. So that's our second donation. So again, we just
The
couldn't.
wholesale side of those is coming soon. So we
that's
don't
why
have
we
the
couldn't
doubles
pick
on the
it.
wholesale
Okay.
side yet. So it's coming. So
I'm like,
that's
why
kind
don't
of
we
a
have
preview.
this one? Amazing. Great.
We love the doubles too. They lock.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we like the ease of the singles. They're so easy.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
And
I
pull
did
on.
admit to you that I couldn't figure out
It's
how.
a puzzle piece. Yep.
It
So
slides
I will
down.
tell everybody this type of clasp, the more bronze one, is a much lighter magnet, and you've probably noticed that. It's got a good grip to it, but it is lighter. Those silver one, the black one, all the other ones. There you go.
It's a
Are
puzzle
a
piece.
very, very strong clasp.
So it looks like this.
I got it. I told you I wanted it to go every which way other than just that, which is so.
Yeah.
Slide it.
I have to look at what I'm doing.
All right, I got it now.
Yeah, and then remember, it's also a magnet, so kind of let it guide itself
Yeah.
back on. Don't try to force it, and it'll
Have you
slide
met
right
me?
back.
I'm in control of everything.
I understand. She'll tell you I'm the same way.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll definitely have to keep our eye out for the double ones. So yeah, I mean, overall, like, it's interesting though that you say in terms of the bracelets that a lot of people will buy the naturals, because on the other hand, I feel like a lot of my community will be into the various colors. So I'll be curious to see, what got scooped up and what will be reordering. And overall, size wise, curious, just while I've got you, because like what sizes seem to be the most prominent or.
We see a lot of size 7.
Lately, we've seen a lot of size 7, but
I mean, what
it
surprised
goes
us,
all over the place.
yeah, what really surprised us when we started making them, we thought, well, we'll make less of the 6s and less of the 8.5s because, not as many people are going to get those. What happens right out of the
Right,
gate?
right. Oh, it's soon
Those are the biggest that we're like, oh my God, like we were running out of them right away
Those
because
ran
we
out fast.
didn't make enough of them.
Yeah.
So it really is all over the page.
It is.
We've noticed that the size 7 sells out quicker, but
This
all
month.
of our bins, and you can see we've got all of these bin systems over here, and there's a big one on the wall behind it also, that we keep it all organized by size and type in. There won't be just one hole on those that runs out. It's like several of them. So it's real consistent. People are ordering all the sizes because, we're all built different.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. So I just was curious that way because again, this was me running around with string
You did good with what you did.
and then measuring everybody's wrists and different people. And thankfully I have different size people working for me, I guess. So it was, definitely interesting.
Got a good variety of
You
sizes.
did good.
Yeah. Well, I'm equally excited to see. I mean, guys, again, as I could go on and on and on. And as always, we're like, there could easily be a part 2.
Absolutely.
I cannot say, I just can't say enough. I mean, I was uber excited coming into tonight, but you guys have been everything I could have hoped for just in terms of like the vibing and going back and forth. And, I told you exactly how I was going to be and I never hold back. And I love that it's such a similar, communication style and a similar passion and excitement. And everyone can see that. And, the models are so similar. And, it's almost like I feel like we have a blending of worlds, right? Alpaca and llama people can get along, right?
Perfect.
Yes. And we both knew Dale.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I'm completely in awe of everything that you're doing. I know everything that goes into it. And so really my hat's off to the two of you. Again, behind the scenes will be so interested, business wise and in learning from everything that you've been doing. So I appreciate that opportunity in advance to, pick your brains, here and there, especially
We're going to stay in touch.
I don't know for you, but for me, I'm coming into my quieter season, right? Because it's winter. I mean, it's for me, that's like networking season or like production season. And, what are my plans for my fiber season? So it's perfect. And I really appreciate this. Now, before I roll into a couple of things, I don't want to forget. And I know we might, I have to tell you too, like, we've hung on. I mean, my people know I can talk forever, but I mean, like we've hung on to the same amount of people through the entire time. Don't forget, guys,
everybody.
I will pass on to them. So you guys know to please send me any notes of thank yous or what you learned or what you got out of this, because then I can send it to them. And it's just like we talked about last night, you guys have to remember every little thing is why we do this. And even just the littlest thank you, or I learned this, or like when people told me they were making the applesauce today, it all matters so much. And I know for so many of you, you appreciate these conversations and I want to pass it on to them. So what I need you guys to do for me, so it says 31, but that's -3. So don't make me do math. What are we at? 28. So out of 28, I need you to pick a number from 1 to 28. And then that person is going to win a $25 store credit gift certificate.
That's like,
Hey, well, you know what? We mentioned lucky number 13 earlier, so let's pick number 13.
All right, we can do
okay,
that.
good. That's a lot of pressure.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Julie Reese, that would be you, my dear. So congratulations. And I know Erin's going to write that down for me. So Julie, you've got a $25 store credit to shop with us that will go in after TDOC. So that will be in your account, and we've got that rewards program, so you guys know that will be there until the end of November to use whenever you would like to use it. Remember also, everybody, any of the purchases that you've made, this will be on the site. I will be continuing to restock. I already told these lovely ladies I'm so excited to bring it to Vogue Knitting Live New York. I think people are going to love it, and whatever I can do to help them to, get it out in land and into different places, I'm excited. Rhinebeck is going to be nuts. That's already next October. I just want to survive winter, but I love when I get my hands on a new product that I'm excited about, and that's what it's all about. So all of the good things. I know Erin has been dropping a ton of stuff in the chat. Remember all of the things we've got going on. The pre-launch of the knit along is there. The coupon code for 50% off my skincare, good throughout the week. Remember, of course, what Kimberly has offered for you guys. And then just a little, and I'll make sure I give these guys some parting words, but sneak peek for tomorrow night. Remember, it's not always all about fiber, and sometimes when I bring my sort of non-fiber guests, you guys love that even just as much. So tomorrow night is a young woman that goes by Frankie. Her name is Madeline Franklin, and she is the livestock manager at Liberty Farms, which is a large farm in upstate New York that I came in last year to shear for the first time. I love her passion and her enthusiasm. I thought it would be something different. They're a CSA farm, but they also have pop-up shops. They even had a pop-up shop in New York City. I really don't know a ton about it. I just know that I got goodies like meat products when I sheared. I love when I get really cool tips like that. And it was also an interesting situation because it was a llama that had been there as a livestock guardian for meat sheep that they raise. And the previous livestock manager, there wasn't good records. The animal really wasn't halter broken. It hadn't been shorn. So it was really a leap of faith on both of our parts of going in and working with this llama who really turned out to be really lovely and really wants to try. And Frankie's done a really good job working with him. So I'm just excited to have her on board to talk about all she does. And of course, just another account for you guys to follow. I enjoy following her stories. She does a lot with her pigs that they raise, of course, for meat products, much like our friends at Autumn Olive Farms that you guys met back at, I think, the first TDOC 4 years ago. So just fun stuff for you. And while there's not going to be a special necessarily for tomorrow night, I know there's going to be great stuff for the keepsake basket. And then we've got more things coming down the pike. So there are lots of drops of dye collabs, curl dye collabs, new products. So somehow or other, this just all comes together. And I can't tell you when I start looking for guests that I'm going to make it all fit, but somehow I do. Every night I'll be wearing a different piece just to remind you guys of some of the different patterns that we have and our different yarn blends. So I did fail to mention in the beginning, this is the Mother's Hug that Kimberly and I were talking about last night. It was the one piece that I couldn't fit on all the dress forms between what I was wearing and all the different things that she's designed for us. So threw this on tonight for you guys to at least be able to see and think about different things. And I also want to feature like a yarn each night as well. So if I can indulge, the one that I grabbed is newer that probably a lot of you guys don't even know about. From some of the mill changes, I've had to go back to really, really grassroots, which has been a lovely challenge for me because much like these ladies can have talked about tonight, that means rather than me phone calling and getting my fiber solely from a co-op, I am having to go through my own stash and doing all my own sorting and my own definition of grading and then getting that off to the mill. So one of our newer collections is our Shear and Share collection. So that means this is all shorn by my hand. These are all my fibers minus the silk blended in. And And then, of course, designed, or if you will, or then milled locally. So this is one of our alpaca ones. So because I don't shear a ton of alpacas, so it was really hard for me to go through my fleeces and then find the nicest of my alpaca fleeces to be able to combine those all together. I really failed to remember all the names of the alpacas that went into here, but just because you guys were the guests tonight, I wanted to show this, and it's again been a forced situation that I'm taking a lot of pride in. And this was actually an attempt at recreating our traditional white picket fence that a lot of my community knows. So it is a blend of alpaca with a little bit of silk, and then just a little bit of merino thrown in as well. And I really love how it came out. So for you guys, this was done by a mill that predominantly does wool. So they're so big and they're popular and they're well known and it's well run, but they do some alpaca, not a lot. And then they definitely don't do llama, but they did run a llama for me that they were amazed about. And I actually got them down here to meet my llamas. And so it was kind of groundbreaking for them. It's all about sheep. And I'm a little bit of the black sheep, so to speak. So it's been a fun challenge, for me to be working with them and, doing some other things with them as well. So I've been happy about it. So this was just one I grabbed just because we're talking with alpaca people. So yeah. Outside of that, guys, can you leave us with any parting words, anything you want to add? I mean, again, I so value all of the different directions we went in, and I know we could talk for a million more years, but anything you want to leave everybody with?
It has been a pleasure to be part of your community on your 12 Days of Community tonight. I'm so glad you reached out and asked us, because we don't get to do stuff like this very often. We're usually just in here working and messing with the alpacas. And so this has been a joy. And
we loved connecting with you all. We appreciate your comments as well. I'm trying to answer something.
Yeah, we love sharing. We love sharing what we do. And so it's just been a lot of fun. And everybody grab up all of Tabitha's alpacalets so that she can get the new ones when they come out.
Well, yeah, then there's going to be too many choices. I'm going to have to restock, see what's interesting, because that's the other thing too. You guys are really great to work with in terms of, stocking and restocking ability, which is really suitable for small business. So I know that can be hard and challenging, but I also appreciate that as well too. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for when the double bracelets are available. And
Valentine's coming up now, so everybody's going to want to get these and give them to all their friends and family for Valentine's Day.
Well, and like I said, for you guys, my focus will be restocking for what I need to during these next 12 days, and then getting us ready for Vogue Knitting Live, which is the end of January. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about a little bit more about that, so I can make sure I've maybe got some proper materials to really make it a focus at that venue also. So I'm excited to continue to work with you guys, and thank you for not leaving me at 8 o'clock. I so appreciate it.
There's no way we could have left. I was just worried about the grandbaby. This has just been great.
Good. I appreciate it so much. So everybody, thank you for hanging in. Was that red?
Somebody commented something.
She was showing if it's coming.
I see you.
Excellent.
Lean or Helen?
Here's the beautiful thing, and again, and I'm not just saying this, $30 is an amazing price point. $30 allows you to have multiples, to have more than just one, have different colors, be able to wear them as multiple bangles. I mean, it really is an amazing price point. So I think that is the beauty of it. I'll be surprised if people aren't grabbing multiples up, and so I'll be anxious to let you guys know. So everybody out there in community land, thank you so much for being my life. And thank you for being with me. Thank you for making this all that it is. Our 4th year in a row. Day 2 is down. Day 3 is coming up next. And hopefully, if there's no more snow, I'll be able to do more promotion. But otherwise, we've been talking about this forever, and it's been 4 years in the making. So thank you for being my regulars. And don't forget, try to get new people in with us, and you'll get an extra ticket in the basket for that too. So with that, everybody. Oh, wait. She's going to yell at me. I know I have to save the chat. Hang on, hang on, hang on. All right. I did it, Erin. Good. I almost forgot.
Good
All right.
job.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Much love to all of you. Happy holidays and wishing you all the best.